So number 4 in the series, we're going to do something kind of useful. I want to produce a series of numbers, and I'm going to produce a series of numbers called the Fibonacci series. And the Fibonacci series is a series of numbers where the next number is the previous two added together. So obviously I need somewhere to start, so the Fibonacci series would have the number 1 and 1 always as its first numbers, followed by 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 1 is 3, 3 and 2 is 5, and so on. So let's say we wanted to produce the first 10 numbers in the Fibonacci series. Well, we know that the first two numbers are always 1 and 1. So what I could do is just go ahead and say RTB output dot text is equal to, and then inside quotes, if I did 1 comma, let's put a space there, 1 comma space. So we're ready now to work out the rest of them. So how do we work out the rest of them? Well, we're going to need a for loop. So if I start the way we did the last for loop, type in for and press tab twice. Alright, so I've got a for loop using I as my loop counter, starting at 0. I want the first 10 numbers in the Fibonacci series. I've already got the first 2, so only really need to go up now as far as 8. So what I will do here is I want to print out those next 8 numbers directly following what's already on the rich text box, with a space and with a comma. So this time I'll say RTB output, and I'll say plus equals because I'm going to add on to it. And what I want to add on, well, for now I'll just add on I dot toString, and what have I got after? We have a comma and a space, so I'll just add on inside quotes, comma and a space. Okay, so RGB output, you can see there it must be dot text. So RGB output dot text plus equals I dot toString blah blah blah. Okay, so you can see what happens there whenever you don't use the built-in predictive text kind of a thing there. So RTB output dot text plus equals I toString, add that on at the end, run that, and we've got the 1, and then we've just got the contents of whatever I is at the time. Okay, so we're not actually going to be using I, but we are going to just use it for around the 8 times. So what I do want to do is I want somewhere where I can store 2 numbers. So if I create an integer, and I'll call this here n1, which I will give the value 1 to. I'll create on the same line a variable called n2, which I'll also give the value 1 to. So n1 and n2 are going to represent the first 2 numbers. And on another line I'll create another integer called fib, and I'll give that the default value of 0. So what I want to do in each case is I want to take n1 and n2, add them together and store them into fib. So inside here I'll say fib is equal to n1 plus n2, and instead of displaying I, I'll display whatever's in fib. Now if we were to run that now, you'll see that it's going to be, we'll get the 1 and the 1 here as we did before, then fib will equal 1 and 1 added together, which is 2, so I'll get 2 repeating for another 8 times. That's what we're getting. Now don't worry about the fact that there's a comma at the end, I'm not bothered about that for now. What I do want you to continuously think about is trying to make sure you know what the output should look like before you actually produce the output. So what do we need to do? Well, once we've added N1 and N2 together and stored them in fib, I want to change what N1 and N2 is. So we have three numbers. By the time we do that, we have 1, 1 and 2. So I want N1 to take on what N2 used to be and N2 to take on what fib now is. So the next time around the loop then I can work out what fib is. So fib was equal to that. We printed it out. After we printed it out, I'm going to say N1 is equal to N2 and N2 is equal to fib. So by the time we can run the loop again, when it adds N1 and N2 together, now we should get the 1 added to the 2, which is the 3. Right. And in fact, we will have all 10 numbers now of the Fibonacci series. So you can see that it was pretty straightforward. We just manipulated a couple of variables. We did it inside a for loop. So I know now that the 10th number in the Fibonacci series is 55. There's loads of other kinds of number systems and things that we can do. That was just to let you see what we can do with a for loop, and more than anything. That'll do for this lesson. When we come back, we'll have a look at manipulating a string. So lesson 5 will be basically string manipulation, and we'll be counting to see how many words are actually in a string.